We're on the land of lakes. This is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And let's see, Wally, I think topic one has to be Joshua Dobbs. Is he the second coming of Fran Tarkenton, Kurt Warner, Clint Longley, Rocky Balboa? I mean, it was a remarkable thing we saw in Atlanta.
How about Case Keenum?
Case Keenum,
I mean, Case Keenum came in.
He did it for a whole season.
He did. When Sam Bradford went down, he came in and led him to the NFC Championship game. If Joshua Dobbs does that, I don't know. I think they might build him a statue out front.
Yeah, I think they're already working on it. Well, I mean, when you think about it, at least Case Keenum was on the roster and was able to absorb the system, and then all of a sudden Sam Bradford goes down, he goes in, and it was it really was a fairy tale season until they went into the Link in Philly for an NFC title game, and it turned into a speed bump.
I still say that was not because Case Keenum had a bad day. It's because the defense couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I think the Minnesota Vikings overall as a team did. I think he threw a pick six in that game. But you're right. It wasn't just Case. The Eagles were just better.
Yeah, they were a better team that day, and they were a better team overall.
And they became Super Bowl champions,
right here in Minneapolis, yes. No, but nothing not to like about Joshua Dobbs and what he did in his first appearance. Obviously, we'll see how things go, and we'll see if Jaron Hall gets healthy and what the Vikings want to do with that situation. But, clearly Dobbs has the experience, but Hall's been in camp, So hopefully his concussion protocol will be lifted and he'll be able to physically be able to play. That is Jaron Hall. But Dobbs, I don't know, he ran the football well. Actually, a couple of the passes that weren't caught were basically right on the money. They just were either defended well or dropped. So I liked everything I saw. It makes you wonder a little bit if your guy Kirk Cousins is watching that. As he gets on the phone with his agent, hello, can we cut a deal right now? I am 35 years old, by the way.
Well, and that's the cold, cruel business the NFL is. Now, we got to let some more water go under the bridge with Joshua Dobbs.
It was just one game.
Maybe Jaron Hall, because you don't know how it's going to play out this week against New Orleans or down the road. But to your point, Kirk Cousins, what's always been really the weight on the Vikings' shoulders? It's been the contract.
His contract.
They haven't been able to have a lot of cap flexibility. So if the Vikings think they have something that comes at a much cheaper price and they can get the same results or maybe better, then Kirk Cousins may have to go somewhere else. And there would be a market for him. There's no doubt about it. I think Santa Clara might be a landing spot if Brock Purdy comes back to earth. They've lost 3 in a row. So it's interesting times for the Minnesota Vikings. They go from having no proven backup to now you got Josh Dobbs, who can extend plays with his feet. He made some clutch throws, as you said. And even if he would not have taken the Vikings down the field and won that game, I still would have said he played outstanding football given the circumstances.
Right.
But to win it? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and some of those runs that he made, including the touchdown run, and I think that the first down run on that last series were just incredible. I mean, he's breaking tackles, and I don't know, you say Fran Tarkenton, I don't know, he looked more like Chuck Foreman.
Yeah. Well, I bring up Fran because Fran's a Georgia guy, and Joshua Dobbs was down in Atlanta, and he went to high school in suburban Alpharetta, Georgia. And Taylor Heineke on the other end for Atlanta, their backup quarterback, QB2, he was from that area as well.
And Fran spoke to the Vikings the day before the game. How do you like that?
Yeah, he's still based down there in Atlanta. He's the super business guy, Fran Tarkenton.
Always has.
I mean, this thing just had so many sidebars to it. It was an incredible win for the Vikings, and then you lose Christian Darrisaw before the game. So that's your offensive left tackle, your bodyguard for Jaron Hall or Joshua Dobbs. He's not in there.
No Kirk Cousins, of course.
No Kirk Cousins. KJ Osborne leaves with an injury.
Justin Jefferson didn't play.
No, Cam Akers is now done. He got hurt in that game. So, wow.
And T.J. Hawkinson was hobbling and still kind of muscled his way through
And
it.
we're only slightly past the halfway mark in this marathon 17-game regular season. The more and more I think about 17 games, I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree
It's
with you.
too much.
Yeah, the NFL, the allure of the NFL is because it's once a week.
Yes.
For it used to be 12 weeks, then 14, then 16, and now 17. I think, as you said, I think it's almost too much at this point.
Yeah, because less is more. That's what made the NFL the beast that it is, right? I mean, it just eclipses every other sport because you and I love baseball and basketball and hockey, but they play 162 in Major League Baseball. You miss a game or two, big deal. You can catch up on things. 82 in the NBA and the NHL. Even MLS plays 34 soccer matches. And the NFL is becoming a little bit less special, and more teams are getting into the playoffs, and we both know they'll put another game on the regular season at some point. You'll be up to 18. I just don't want it. And I'm an NFL junkie. You know that.
There's no question about that part.
But I don't need that many games.
Okay, all right. You don't watch the NFL Network 24/7?
No, I do other stuff, believe it or not. I don't need Thursday Night Football. Well,
I know that.
You know all this.
I am well aware
I don't need a
that.
rug and I don't need a roof on my venues.
Okay, all right. Well, you got both here in
I
Minneapolis.
do.
You should be happy with that when they play the Saints because the Saints are used to that. They have both, a rug and a roof.
They do, and they have a very loud dome down there at the other end of the mighty Mississippi.
Yes, they do.
NOLA.
Been there a few times.
Yeah.
It's very loud.
You've tried the Hurricanes. And
I'm 1-1 down
the
there.
Benoits or beignets. What do they call
Beignets.
it? Beignet, yeah.
Benoit, that's the guy that used to play for the Denver Nuggets.
Okay. I know you're good on the French pronunciations.
No, they're beignets.
Beignets, yeah. It's like a pastry.
Yeah, it's a donut. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, the Saints are in town. We'll get into more of that. But we're going to talk some college football coming up next. A guy who has been around the Twin Cities coaching for a long time and is going to leave one heck of a legacy. He is coming up next here.
Yeah, Steve Johnson. He's done a lot of good things for the Bethel Royals. We are 10K Takes your Josh Dobbs ticket.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back, 10,000 Takes. As I mentioned a little earlier, we're going to talk some college football now at the D3 level. Steve Johnson has been coaching the Bethel Royals since 1989, and last week announced, and he joins us now, last week you announced your retirement after, 35 years as a head coach at Bethel. First and foremost, before we get into this season, because I know you guys are playing for a championship this weekend, what prompted the decision at this point in your career?
As a family decision, we've been here for a long time, and it's been amazing. And, in 1989, going all the way back to getting things going here, we thought if we could ever be 500, that would be like we'd have a ticker tape parade, and didn't expect it to do these things. And really, our goal, my heart is to have a bunch of guys that kind of do pull together to have power, and that they care about each other, they care about the game. The spiritual aspect of their life is important, and we try to recruit a bunch of happy-hearted, tough guys that love the Lord, love football, love each other. And I grew up in a family that had my dad was a Baptist preacher, and I think that the narrative around Christians being soft, and someday when I get to heaven, I'm going to find out if this is legal or not, but I kind of want us to play with a chip on our shoulder, you know what I mean? And I think Christians are soft, and we are great guys, all week long we're really good, but on Saturday we're going to be real physical, and our goal is really to have people hate to play us, and part of that's physicality, part of that is that we care about each other so much that we'll play so long that you'll get sick of us.
Steve, talk about the growth of the MIAC in terms of talent in football from when you started to where it is now. Because I know when I did the St. Thomas games for about 10 years, I was really blown away by a lot of D1 transfers within the conference and just the way the talent got better year after year after year.
Yeah, it's been amazing. You're right, Eric, and it's not like there's just St. John's and has been kind of the benchmark for a long time. And then when Coach Crusoe came to St. Thomas was always good, but they're consistent when Coach Crusoe came along and just did a great job, and then became dominant. And so, but the whole league is Gustavus goes back, and there's just so much really cool history and guys going together. But D1 transfers, like you said, and D2 guys, there's a little blurry deal. It's kind of blurry if you're a D1 guy. If you're really a D1 guy, you have to play there. And there's just a lot of really great football players, especially in Minnesota. And the base of our team and the other teams are Minnesota kids. We have kids from all over, but Minnesota players. And I believe that there's not a huge amount of like some other states where there's legit really big D1 guys, but there's a heck of a lot of great football players at that FCS and D2 and D3 level. And so our league, I think, is maybe the best, one of the best in the country as far as just having that. Each school kind of has its niche, and there's a personality to each school, and I think the coaches. I mean, I've been just really impressed with the coaching and the care level of everybody in the league, and I just I couldn't be happier with the league, and there's so many fans are into it. The Twin Cities, there's graduates from all of our schools all over the cities, and so there's just interest in it, and it's almost, I think it's unheard of.
This weekend, you play Gustavus, a team that you beat during the regular season. It's for the MIAC championship and an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. What would it mean to you to get this done and to get to the NCAAs again?
Be huge. We had a tough beginning to our year. We had a stacked schedule, and sometimes I think St. John's and Bethel, we have a tough time getting non-conference opponents. So there's a lot of schools that ended up with each other. Mary Hardin Baylor and Trinity and all those guys. So we ended up with Wartburg, who's number 3 in the country. And in the first, I think the second quarter, we lost our star tailback, David Jeebley, to a broken leg, and it was like a 6-2 game at the end of the, going into the fourth quarter. I think they won 16-2. The next week we beat Eau Claire, came out pretty healthy, and then we played St. John's up there, and on the second play lost our free safety, who was All-American 2 years ago, and then lost our star receiver. And these guys aren't out; they're back now, but they were knocked out of there. So we start the year 1-2. So I'm going back to your question. We start the year 1-2 with a lot of, sometimes when you have injuries and drop balls, you kind of start ducking, and it seems like they're contagious, even if it's not. And so we were having to, we talk about stay in the fight, and that's sometimes it's easier to run to the fight than it is to stay in the fight. And we did that, and I'm really proud of our guys. And we're coming off a year last year that we're pretty darn good.
Steve, I saw on your bio page that there was a testimonial from Leslie Frazier, who was the Vikings head coach, was with Buffalo as a DC, Super Bowl champion with the Chicago Bears, but also a D3 coach back in the day. And he said, I would be happy if my kid played for Steve Johnson. What's that mean when you get a glowing testimonial like that from Leslie Frazier and all the others who are pouring in the tributes?
Yeah. Leslie is he's a man of character and just an amazing guy. Not to mention that he's a 85 Bear, which is pretty close to my heart. So he's a good friend, and I think it kind of talks to what I was just talking about. Leslie is a man of faith, and he understands that we're, one of the things that I love about Bethel is that, there's Christian schools and it's kind of just in the name, or it's kind of foo-foo. Well, I feel like sometimes it looks like, we lost by 30, but Jesus loves us. And I'm like, well, he loves them too. Why don't you block somebody? You know what I mean? It's like, we gotta get to the place where, you know what I mean? And so that's a huge piece. The base of this place isn't a religious deal about being Baptist, Catholic, or Lutheran, but we believe and trust and find joy in the fact that the King of Kings sent his kid so we could run. And we kind of think, how dare we not? And we're grateful, and it changes the way we live and the way we act and the way we walk. And we really do have a bunch of guys that stinking have a blast playing football and have a blast being together. And that's the joy that we take to that. And then being good is kind of like gravy.
Yeah. Well, you've had a lot of gravy in your time, 29 straight years of winning seasons, multiple trips to the NCAA, MIAC championships. Congratulations on a great run. Good luck against Gustavus, and hopefully some good luck will shine on you as you get to the NCAA playoffs as well. Thanks, Steve.
Love it. Thanks for having me,
Steve.
guys.
All right,
man.
He is Steve Johnson, the head football coach, soon to be retired, Bethel University. We'll be back with more here on 10,000 Takes after this. Stay with us.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
10,000 Takes rolling along. All right, we had the good news last weekend with the Vikings pulling one out, thanks to Joshua Dobbs. How about the bad news on Saturday at Huntington Bank Stadium? So now we have a pair of 5-4 teams coming into this weekend. Your Gophers, man alive, what in the world went on in that last drive that allowed Illinois and Brett Bielema to win again over the Gophers? Oh, by the way, Brett Bielema is now 10-0 against the University of Minnesota as a head coach. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, he foams at the mouth when he sees maroon and gold. And don't forget, he played for Iowa. And I'm going to guess when they went head-to-head as a player when he was down there.
They probably won.
They won most of them, yeah. So,
if not all of them.
He is Brett Bielema is kryptonite for the U of M. And, yeah, so we had QB2 winning it for the Minnesota Vikings and QB2 winning it for Illinois. I was at that game at Huntington Bank Stadium, and it certainly looked like Minnesota was going to find a way to pull it out, and then it would just be the Hawkeyes and the Gophers, and last team standing would win the Big Ten West because Wisconsin lost last week, as did Nebraska. Instead, the wideout Isaiah Williams ran that post route. He got by the safeties, including Tyler Nubin, who's going to the NFL, definitely. And it was a touchdown. Illinois wins. And then the Gophers still have a chance to just get into field goal range, right? You're down by 1.
Right.
And they could not get anything going to even get a field goal try.
Yeah, and how about going for when they went for 2 on who scored the touchdown? Jackson? Was that the
Daniel Jackson?
Daniel Jackson caught the touchdown pass that put them up by 5 or whatever it was. And then they say, hey, we're going for 2. So PJ makes the right call there. And then they go and run a double reverse from the 2.5-yard line to go for 2. What the world? Run the football. It's what you do.
Yeah, you run out of field turf there.
There's no space.
It's everything's confined down there at the 2-yard line. It was an odd call. PJ certainly is accused of being too conservative. A lot of people believe that he is, and it's probably true. But that's not the time to reach into your bag of tricks. That's a power run there,
Goofy.
right? Or play action and dump it off to your tight end, Brevin Spanford, whatever. The Gophers, though, every season there's 1 or 2 games.
2 this year.
They should win, that they don't win, and it holds the program back. We've had 10 years now of the Big Ten West and the Big Ten East. Minnesota has never won the West. The only other teams in the West that can say that are Nebraska and Illinois. So you're an elite company, Gophers. I mean, my goodness, how do you not win this sorry division at least once?
Well, technically they did tie for it back in 2019, but they didn't go because they ended up losing to Wisconsin at the last game of the year. And so they didn't go to the Big Ten Championship.
No, and the goal here is get to Indianapolis,
Right.
Lucas Oil Stadium, and
get
come back in a body bag after playing Ohio State or Michigan. So.
Exactly. Speaking of which, that's next for the Gophers after Purdue this week.
Yeah, I mean, if they win out, they still could possibly win it, but it's highly unlikely.
They're not going to beat Ohio State. What are you on, drugs?
No, I said highly unlikely.
Okay. All right. One last note. Your Minnesota Timberwolves. You've got to be impressed with what you've seen, particularly on their home floor through the first, week and a half of the season.
Absolutely. When you knock off the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets, and then you get by Boston, a team that's very good, a Final Four team in the NBA last season.
And Miami.
They also knocked off Miami, a team that reached the finals against Denver. Yes, and they look like a much better defensive team. Ant is definitely a superstar. I mean, he has all the goods.
He's got the it factor.
He really does, and he took over against the Celtics in overtime. And that's something that if you're going to be elite, that's your time, right? He had a couple of 3 balls. He had another basket, and Minnesota won going away against Boston. There's room for optimism, but the West is loaded.
Oh.
So there's no room for hiccups. You got to keep winning if you want to be a top 5 seed or better.
Yeah, no question. All right. More to come, including takes of the day. That's coming up next, right here. Stay with us.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Takes of the day. We're going to find out what your mood is. Demanding diva, angry American. Dare I say it? Are you a happy camper? What is it?
Well, I've had the opportunity to take in a few Timberwolves games here in the early going. Saw the Wolves at home against Denver, knock off the defending world champs who were unbeaten at the time. Then I saw them knock off the Boston Celtics, another team that may be, from top to bottom, the best team in the league, and they too were unbeaten at the time. So Minnesota has looked good. Is this going to play, however, when it comes to this goofy in-season tournament that the NBA is now rolling out here in the next, well, they've already started, and it'll go on for the next several weeks. And they're all playing for the NBA Cup, baby. I know that means a lot to you and me. I'm not sure what it means to the players. I'm not sure what it means to anybody outside of Adam Silver's office right now. Adam Silver, by the way, the commissioner of the NBA. So what's the point of this? Well, supposedly the point is to spike interest in the early part of the season, kind of between the opening week or so and Christmas, because Christmas is where, you get that triple header on TV. Yep. And usually pretty big games. You're going to get the Warriors. You're going to get LeBron and the Lakers. You're going to get the Celtics. Those teams are typically on Christmas Day. And so you kind of get fired up for the NBA again. And then opening week, you might be juiced to see your own team or whatever. So they're trying to get more interest built up in that in-between time. So they're going to throw in this tournament. And I'll use air quotes, if you will. I don't understand it. I still think that it is something that came from out of nowhere. No, it came from Europe, and it came from soccer. So this is not Europe. This is not soccer. Just let them play. Why can't we just concentrate on what should be taken care of, like having your star players, when they're on the road in NBA arenas other than their own, actually play? So when somebody travels from Duluth to Minneapolis because they came down to see LeBron James and the Lakers, decided, LeBron's not playing tonight, he's in load management. Well, that's a load of fertilizer. I would say, NBA, you have other things to worry about other than adding more meaning to your regular season games. Then cut the schedule down. That might be your other option.
Let's see what that mood meter says. Oh, he's a demanding diva.
Particularly demanding.
Yeah, throwing down the gauntlet at Adam Silver,
yes,
who runs the association. All right, well, I'm going to throw the gauntlet down too.
All right.
Name, image, and likeness has been around for a few years. A lot of folks don't like it, but it's reality. A lot of coaches don't like it. And I feel like some of the coaches here in Minnesota, specifically at the U of M, are starting to think of that as a crutch they can use for not being able to compete against the likes of Ohio State and Michigan. And when have they really ever competed against those programs in football, at least?
Not recently.
I don't want to hear it. If you look at the Big Ten map, and I'll even include Los Angeles, which is USC, UCLA, Seattle, which is the University of Washington. Those are major markets like the Twin Cities. But look at the rest of the map. We have a ton of Fortune 500 companies here in Minneapolis and St. Paul and the burbs. There's money in the Twin Cities. Go out and get it, PJ. Go out and get it, Ben Johnson, Don Pleasenwhite, whoever. Go out and get it. It's here. I mean, look at these metro areas around the Big Ten, and I use that in air quotes. Iowa City, State College, PA, Champaign, West Lafayette, Lincoln. These are not major metros with Fortune 500 companies right in their backyard. Minnesota should be able to get a lot of NIL money. You just got to go out and sell the program and get it done. So I'm not going to hear any excuses that, we can't compete. Baloney.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons that they can't compete. That should be the least of those.
Exactly. It should foster better teams down the road if you can somehow get that money. All right, on that note, we got to go. Let's FedEx out those thank yous. One to Alex Yambrick, David Weld, Paul Langfellow, Rocky, Steve Johnson. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.